Thank you for, whoops, it's not on. Thank you for sticking around, yes, for this Q&A. It will be brief because we have another movie coming in, but I wanted to present to you now Paula Heredia, the director of Imelda Is Not Alone. I'm going to give the microphone to Imelda because I can project a little. I know she has a soft voice.
Thank you so much for sharing this moment and these stories. I think that whole program was really wonderful. I would like to really get to know what the impressions that you have and any questions about Imelda, but also how this story resonates with the stories happening in the U.S. Today.
It is a very timely film, I think, for us, and a very important topic, obviously. Tell us a little bit about how the state of the law right now. Has there been any movement on that? What's a little bit of the history about that?
Yeah, a little bit of the history is that actually in El Salvador there were some provisions in the law that allowed for a woman to have a miscarriage or to have an abortion in certain circumstances or in certain cases. There were exceptions that an abortion would not be penalized. That changed in 1992 when the peace agreements after the war came into place, and the movement of women were not strong at the time and were not able to negotiate that. So it's a country where they used to have certain rights for women that were lost. And when I started thinking about the story from the U.S. point of view, where I've been living in the U.S. for a while, and thinking how this story would be not just Imelda, but the story of El Salvador would be a cautionary tale for what was happening to us here in a country where had certain rights for women, and we are little by little peeling off those rights here too.
Yeah, very powerful, very powerful. Do we have any questions from the audience? I know we have some folks here and some folks here, so I'll try to catch you all. Does anybody have a question for Paula? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, thank you so much for this wonderful short film. I had heard about Imelda, but I didn't know the full details. Just wondering, can you tell us a little bit about this amazing feminist collective, which is so happy to see that it was comprised of men and women. Just tell us a little bit about that, about them, and if there is any way that we can also support them, because I know that their work continues. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really the only hope that is happening not just is in this topic, but in many other issues happening in the country, is the women's movement in El Salvador. And I say that because they are well organized, they have very a clear conscience of what the needs of women in the context of society are, and their work it makes a huge difference, and has made a huge difference, as I said, not just in this topic, but in prevention of violence, in prevention of youth derailment, if that's a word. I live in that little town called Suchitoto, and their work, and they are based. One of the bases of the few of those organizations are in Suchitoto, and that is a healthy, beautiful town with a society which we all dream to live in, and that has a lot to do with the work that they're doing. They are very much in fighting to change the law for abortion in El Salvador to give women's rights, and they have taken this fight to the international courts, and one case has been won, and right now there's a second case that is being that's in the courts, is in process right now, and we hope that's also gonna win. Mostly because not just because of the families of the women involved in the cases get benefits of all kinds, but really because the country has to be attached to certain requirements, international requirements in terms of the rights of women, in terms of health, education, and reproductive rights. So yes, please check out these groups, La Colectiva Feminista in El Salvador, and or you can follow this woman Morena Herrera, who is one of the main leaders and inspirations.
Good question. Anyone else have a question? Uh-huh.
Does Imelda desire custody of her child?
Yeah, that's a very interesting situation. Imelda has come to be the girl that she never was, and that probably would never had the chance to be if it wasn't because her worst nightmare became her chance to get out of that situation. And coming out of yes, the mother got the the custody of Milagro, the little girl, and she battled a lot about if she wanted to be a mother and if she could be a mother, and she has taken a decision, at least for the moment, not to be the mother that everybody expects her to be, and she's been focusing on studying, and she's going to the university. I take my hat off because we all know how hard it is just to be a student at the university level when we have had a good background academically speaking, and she has made it. So she's been focusing on that. I don't think that she goes to therapy and the support of these groups and individuals around her has helped to give her that kind of
I don't have
support.
any value judgments on that attached to that question. I'm just curious.
No, and that's why it's such a good question, because it is a true aspect of her life that she deals with, and she feels she's fearful of being judged by such a difficult but very ahead kind of decision, I think. Imelda has, as I said in the film, is one example, but as Morena says, no, everybody has her, can be lucky as she was. I mean, not that people is chosen, they just happen to be in that situation. But one of the lawyers that work in her case, not the one that is in the film, but another of the lawyers, ended up adopting her formally. So she has a mother, and that has changed her life in many other ways because there's a stability. She has a mother, a house, a support, and I think that's why she's thriving in many other aspects of her life. And she saw the film, and nobody asked me this, but
I was going to.
she saw the film, and it was very emotional and hard, I think, for her to watch it. She said that she was amazed to see the arc of her life and the whole story, but that she wasn't that person anymore, and that she didn't feel comfortable. I mean, she does not do press. She has actually blocked some press approaches that some stories journalists that have approached her, and I was a little concerned that she might react that way to the film. I mean, I followed her for 5 years, but she was aware of what I was filming when I was with her, but she had not seen any of the other footage, the stepmother, the stepfather, the visits to the mother, everything else. But she was happy that the story could be there that could be understood, but that was she stepped back. That's not me anymore. That I have another life, and I said, and that's why I ended the film the way I ended it, because it's you are blooming. You're going in, hopefully in a great direction.
I have a question here.
Yes, first of all, congratulations. It's such a wonderful film. It really is. It's so full of life. And it seems like it's quite a small crew. Can you tell us a little bit about making this film?
Well, it is a small crew. It's usually 2 people. Maybe the person who drives us is also a PA, and we are all everything. And a large percentage of the film was shot with my iPhone.
Wow.
And it's amazing that it looks good. Although this is an MP4 for those techies, and the quality of the picture is much better, but it's fine. I had made another film called Toucan Nation, about a toucan in Costa Rica that had been abused and lost half of his beak, and I followed that story, followed the bird to see if it was going to survive, followed the movement that came, citizen movement that came out of that, trying to change the law, and follow these citizens from all walks of life trying to come up with a fix to see how the bird could have another beak and be independent. And that was a great story because the law changed. These people were able to design and build a 3D beak for the bird, and the bird survived, and it was a great story. And I showed the film in Suchitoto. We run an international film festival, and Morena, the activist, saw the Toucan film, and she came and asked me how we could make this woman a toucan. And I thought, oh my God. I mean, of course, my partner, one of the producers, began pushing me. You gotta make that film. You gotta make that film. And I, of course, I was like, yes, I want to make the film, but I need a story, and so that goes around and around. And I was open to find a story, So I was always researching the story, and the collective of women will always give me heads up of things, as soon as Imelda happened that way. This happened, and then I run and cut the research footage, which was my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got that scene, I knew that I had to make the film. And I knew that regardless of the fact that was iPhone footage, I had to use it. There was no way to go back to that moment. And I followed through the years. I followed 5 cases and edit them. And the process of editing was long. I'm an editor myself, so I have the privilege to be able to do it. And at the end, I decided that this was a one-story film. And Imelda some of them come at the end, but it was just a one character.
But Imelda is not alone, as we saw. And how many women, do you have any idea how many women are still incarcerated?
Yeah, it changes, but it's usually between 12 and 20 women, in different moments that's still in prison. Yeah, nothing has changed much, and new government has not provided any hope for changes in the law.
One more. Let's take this last one, and I hope that you'll be available out in the lobby area if anyone has any other questions. But we do have another film coming in, so we'll have to cut it short. Go ahead.
Sure. A quick 2-part question. Wonderful film. Thank you so much. Love seeing the combination of just the general fight for women's rights by looking at different cases, and Imelda in particular. I was curious, one, if there was much kind of suppression by the El Salvadoran government to try to restrict your access to the jail or to the court? Did they not want the story told, or were they pretty open to you following the process? And then the second question is, it was such a haunting footage of the talk with the stepfather in the home, and even without any sort of preface, you kind of, at least for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this guy implicated? Did you have that sense when you're doing that interview then immediately?
Yes, we did. I mean,
Yeah.
let me just answer the first part of the question.
Sure.
Nobody really cares or wants anybody to tell the story. So no, there's no help. You know, you're always sneaking in. You're always trying to find ways to get in, and even when you're in, there's a lot of restrictions. So you know, as documentary filmmakers, you always fight in that. So that was not unusual, but yes, it happens. I was going.
The stepfather.
They just tried to erase him. It's such a bad vibe. Yes, you kind of felt not just him, but the relationship that you could feel between them and the mother and the stepfather. But you don't know. I mean, you know, you just have you don't judge until it's proven. And when the first interviews, you know, the first day that I interview Imelda and the lawyer interviewed, the first interviews with Imelda, she didn't come out and say, oh, you know, my stepfather was abusing me. She made a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that a friend from high school, you know, that he had already left to the U.S. You know, that was very vague, and I knew that she was lying, but the first interview I couldn't get anything out of her, and it was little by little that the woman and the lawyer began talking to her. Is that she revealed that, and when that came to the table, the lawyers and the supporters were wondering if they should proceed and go to the judge, because they had to go to the judge to ask for the DNA test and give the reason. And they were afraid that if Imelda was lying, and that the whole thing was going to fall apart, because then nobody would believe anything else. And the woman took a very strong position to say, we have to believe her. We have to believe her, and you know, and let's take the risk. And of course, the DNA came positive, I see. So that was it's not uncommon, unfortunately, to find that kind of situation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please share the story. Please let other people know that you can do something, because if one person does something, it adds up, and we can really do it. Change happens.
Thank you so much for coming from El Salvador to be here with us, and we really appreciate the film so much. Really a beautiful film.
Thank you.